We need it. Oxygen. It's why we
Well, hello, everyone. You've got Loralyn here, host of The Grit Files. And with me today, we've got Denise Drinkwalter. And what's her specialty? Well, it's life coaching for midlife women. So she's got all kinds of advice for the rest of us who, well, aren't Gen Z. And she's going to be sharing that wisdom with us. And one of the things that also makes it really exciting is that she's from the homeland. And for those of you that have been listening to my show for a while, you know, I am Canadian, as they say, right? So we've got Denise here live from Canada. Hello, Denise. Welcome to the show.
Hello, it's great to be here. Yes, and we have no more snow. I'm just sharing that. Just
All
like
right.
life, you never know.
You don't. And that's why it's so key to have people like you who are helping middle-aged women try to figure it out because you start to hit a few curveballs. So before we get into the help, talk to us about the impetus behind Denise Drinkwalter coaching and how did you decide and say, this is what I want to do?
Absolutely. So I had a phenomenal career that I loved dearly. I was 31 years in education. And I did everything from classroom teaching to behavior resource teacher, working with students with emotional behavior disorders, really challenging kids that self-regulation was not the norm. Learned so much from those beautiful kids. I love them. And then I got into administration and was a principal for about 13, 14 years, and then knew it was time to let somebody else share their gifts and wisdom, right? And timing was perfect. I have grandchildren, and so I moved into a two-week holiday, and then I moved into caregiving, supporting our daughter and son-in-law with children and childcare, which was great. But there was that yearning inside of me. There's something more. I just knew. I always throughout my career, throughout my life, I always had that little knot in my stomach, something more, something more. You can do something different. There's something for you. Hence, I turned into life coaching and have never looked back. I love it. Love it. I had people reaching out, colleagues of mine. Oh, Denise, can you help me? I thought I was going to be a health coach. Like, I don't know health. I mean, I was in network marketing a little bit, and so I had product, and that was fabulous, but I really didn't know health. And of course, once I started working with these people, it was way deeper than health. It was about self-awareness. It was about self-love, self-worth, right? And ta-da, that's where I am today. I support women in midlife years who are hitting transitions for a variety of reasons. And many times what I find is the first transition that really, hits us hard is physical, but even more so when our kids move away and we've poured years, love, all our heart and soul into help raising them. And then they're gone. And then we're like, okay, I don't want to be an attachment and be in their face, but what do I do now? Because I don't know what to do with myself. Because yes, I have work, but I've got more too. So that's how it came to be.
And how did you end up gravitating towards women and midlife women? Because that's the thing. Once you have the gift that you do, which is really attentive listening, it is being able to understand people, that social emotional connection and looking for where there may be gaps and opportunities to reach out and say, here, let me help you with that. How did it come to be women that you focused on?
I think it's simply because I get them. When I was working in the education realm, I worked primarily with moms because those were the people who came into the office. And I would watch the weight of the world on their shoulders. And I'm thinking, you don't have to carry all that, but they didn't know that they didn't have to, right? So I think it just became a segue. And that's who seems to really want to make changes when these transitions start happening in midlife years. It seems to be the women who are like, I know there's, just like I did, I know there's something more, but I don't know how to access it. I don't know what it is. And I think I want help. Hence, here I am. Yeah.
Perfect. And let's talk about some of those transitions and talk about, obviously, we never ever ask anyone to divulge patient confidentiality or
Sure.
client confidentiality or any of that. But are there trends that you see that women tend to struggle with one transition more than some of the other transitions?
It's interesting that you asked that question because I'm an expert in a big, huge community, perimenopause, right? I find that the physicality changes are a really big, monstrous piece. But what happens in that is that I find people get stuck in my body's changing. And when they get stuck in the body changes, they don't shift over as readily to what's the emotional change around that? What's the other changes that I get to take control of? So it's very much like we live life. Exterior, what does it look like on the outside? And so I work on the inside. I talk about what is your well-being, what is important for you, why is that important for you? So I pull apart the person and support their particular life journey. So a lot of people find that the physicality is a big deal, and it is. I'm not saying it isn't. However, the reality behind that is there's a lot of other moving parts that don't get the attention. And when we get into attending to the other internal parts, things shift. And one thing I share a lot is there's only one person we can control, and that's ourselves. So the other transition that I mentioned earlier is when what people refer to as empty nesting, right? All of a sudden, those kids are no longer under our roof, which is fantastic. That's what we've been waiting for. And then you look at your spouse and go, who are you again? Because you haven't spent that time throughout your career as a mom, because that is the priority, the role of mom, right? And then, yes, the wife, but at the same time, it's like, who are you again? And then you start to wonder, well, who am I? If I don't have that role anymore, who am I? So that's another big transition piece, is just that the concept of everybody else's life is changing and now you get to focus on you. And you haven't done that since high school, probably, right?
Yeah, it's true. There's so many tremendous transition points there. And this is the one thing, and then that I'll share, since talking about perimenopause, talking about empty nest, all this stuff. I was fortunate in that I never experienced perimenopause. And so I'm always the person amongst my group of friends, and we've been friends for decades. I mean, since kindergarten. And they're like, Laura, what's it like? So I had cancer in my 30s, and so they induced menopause. So within 6 months, I went through an extremely intense full menopause and went from nothing to the other side of it in 6 months. Talk about a whoo-hoo, right? Lots and lots of stuff there. And then even on that empty nest set and those transitions, and like you said, all of these things that you tend to focus on, you lose sight of yourself. And I see it amongst many of my friends as well, where they are having that aha moment and going, I don't really know who I am or what I want. And then I'm looking at my spouse going, should you be in the next chapter, right? Because you had a common goal of launching the child, which now once you've done it, what do you have left to do together? It's that period of new discovery. So I can see the benefit. People need that support.
Yeah, it really do. And the reason why it's so important, we have, let's say we have 30, 40 more years of life to live. Let's live it instead of sticking in stress, pain, worry. As we age, we all know our bodies age along with us. And so add that extra stress, it's going to make aging happen quicker. Let's have fun here, right? Let's really love every single day because we get to. And that doesn't mean I put on the rose-colored glasses and say, la, la,
No.
la, 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 the house is burning down, everything's fine. No, there's a reality check. But you can, when you tune into your truth, your inner being, the world changes. You have control of that. And that's the work that I do. I help you see who you are, what is possible for you. And everybody's journey is different. And it's just such a gift to be able to be involved in people's lives that way. Such a gift.
Well, look at you saying it's on the outside, everything seems all right. It's the inside, we got to do the work.
That's it. That is it.
All right. So our audience is always asking how people get through, because there are dark days. You have these fabulous days where you're speaking with different clients, or you're featured in some podcast, some show, some event. I know even recently you were featured in a panel discussion on Helpopedia, and these things are wonderful, but you don't always have the wonderful moments. So what do you do on those days or moments that aren't so wonderful?
I love that. That's a great question. You be in those moments. You sit with that and you start to get curious. Why am I feeling like this? What's coming across for me? Get out a pen and paper if that resonates with you and start writing down whatever's coming through. Don't hold back. Don't question, just write stuff down. Sometimes when we have that going on in our head and we don't put it out on paper or don't get rid of it somehow, it just stays in there and then it builds, right? And then it just becomes nasty. But when we tune into, okay, why is that happening? Why are those thoughts coming through? Why is it heavy for me today? I'm curious. Don't feel bad about it, because as soon as we start to make it a bad thing, then it gets worse. It just grows, right? Where you put your attention, it grows. So you can be with it, sit with it, try to understand it, talk to somebody about it, talk to somebody who you know will be non-judgmental, will not try to solve all the problems for you, but will be there to listen. Because sometimes when people give you advice, it doesn't align with you, and then you try it and then it falls apart even bigger, right? So just find somebody who's available to listen, judgment-free, and just feedback what you're hearing them say, right? That active listening you mentioned that I do. It's so powerful.
Such a critical thing. And thinking of active listening, nice segue, Denise. I'm waving my magic wand for those of you that can't see the experience. It's actually a light bulb. And
I love it.
It's the one that says, who out there in the podcast listening universe do you hope is tuned in right now?
Absolutely. Somebody who has what I talked about earlier, that little niggling inside of them, there's something more, and I don't know what it is or how to find out or what I do with it. So don't ignore it. Reach out. Don't ignore that little nudge. That's there for a reason. That's telling you there's growth and expansion in your near future, and reach out.
Oh, I love that. Okay. And this is one of my favorite questions, although I can pretty much predict the answer, which is crazy after hundreds of guests. But here I have this undo button. And again, this is for those that don't have the visual experience. It's like it's got some lovely glowing. It's actually my computer mouse, but we're going to pretend it's a button. You get to hit it once, Denise. Just once. You get to undo one thing in your life, personal, professional, whatever it is, one undo. What do you undo?
Oh my goodness. I have had this question before, and this is the most challenging question I have ever had and continue to have, because I look at life in a way that when things have happened in my past, if I think I want to undo them, then my course of direction would change completely and I wouldn't be where I am today. So what do I want to undo? Oh my goodness.
I know, right?
I will say I want to undo how I used to perceive myself in my early 20s. I'm going to say that. I would like to undo how I used to perceive myself, because I used to think that I didn't have the capacity to be able to do what my mind wanted to do. And that's all bunk. And I know it, right?
So powerful. This is the wisdom that you're bringing, right, to so many people. And on that theme, because you've got a lot of experience just working with not only students, teachers, parents, mentoring, and all your coachees. There are so many people out there beginning their journey as a life coach, or we've got a lot of listeners who are seasoned coaches as well, and they learn from each other, right? It's a lifetime of learning and growing. What do you recommend to all of those other coaches about their practices and themselves and what they do? Whatever advice you want to share, Denise.
I need to get this message out that you stepping into your truth and your understanding of who you are will be the most important thing that you can do, not only for you, but for anybody in your sphere of influence.
Perfect. This is what people need, right? Just really be you. I mean, I think we spend so much time denying who we are or questioning it because we're influenced by social media or that negative self-talk or whatever it is. And we're thinking, I'm not worthy, I'm less than, I'm this, I'm that. And it almost becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So you never do step out and go, you know what? I'm going to start a company. I don't care how old I am. I'm not a 22-year-old graduate young man from Stanford, but I'm going to start a tech company because I can.
Yeah.
Right.
And you know what? A great place to start with all of that is the language you use. I can't, I get to. I get to explore the possibilities instead of saying, well, I couldn't do that. I can't do that. That won't work. I get to try. Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Is there anything that you'd like our audience to do, or how do we find you? What can we do to help and to support you, Denise?
You can find, I am me. My company is me. I have no special name. I've tried that. Oh my gosh, you wouldn't believe the names I came up with. And I'm like, why doesn't that sit right? And it came out that it didn't sit right because I do me. So when you meet with me, I'm 100% who I am. I don't put a coaching hat on that's separate from who I am. It's just who I am. So you can find me. DeniseDrinkwalter.com is my website, and I've got a link tree in there. I'm always doing stuff, always doing things. I can't just sit. I think I have a little what do you call it? Undiagnosed busyness that I don't know, that I love it though. It's what I do. And so, yeah, it's DeniseDrinkwalter.com. And, I think it's so important that your question earlier, what do you do when your thoughts are and you're just in a bad place? I said, sit with it. I would add to that, don't sit with it too long, right? If it's changing your everyday life, you need to reach out and get help. And it could be any kind of support that you need. Experiment, try things, but don't sit too long because that is not healthy, as we know. But it's okay to witness those thoughts, those feelings. Why is that coming up for me? And then go, oh, okay, that's learning. So every single day, do something. The one thing I love is do something for you, by you, because of you.
Ooh, that's powerful. And then I sit there and listen to that and go, I slept. Does that count?
Absolutely. 100%. See, isn't that funny how we start judging what we choose to do, right? And when we do that, we're pull ourselves right back into, what does it look like? Right? Yeah, we do that all the time. And it doesn't serve us, right? So yeah, do something, one thing for you, by you, because of you every single day. Every single day, even if it's only 30 seconds, do it.
I like that. And just to be really clear, in case people didn't hear the website, it is Denise Drinkwalter. There's an L in there. It's not water. It's walter.com. So I just want to make sure that everybody's got that. Perfect. All right. Last question, signature question of the Grit Files. We're bringing it home, Denise. So if we got to go in there into your closet up there, Southern Ontario, Canada, and took a look, what footwear personifies who you are? Sandals, flip-flops, whatever it is. Describe that footwear in great detail and why that footwear represents your personality.
What a great question. I love this question. running shoes, and they are bright and they have a cushion on the bottom. So I can explain why it has to be like that. Bright, because there is light always available. We just have to take the time to find it. So there is always brightness every single day. We just get to look for it, which is always fun. The padding underneath is to get support. It doesn't help you to move forward when you don't have that extra support on the bottom. I'm thinking of my Hokas right now that are super, right? And running shoes, because I can't sit still. I have to keep in motion. I have to keep moving. I have to keep growing. I have to keep learning and expanding. That is who I am. And so when I have opportunity to meet with the variety of people that I support on this journey, on their journey, I love it because I expand with every interaction.
Oh, Denise, that's just fabulous. Didn't quite have it pegged, but I think hearing this, you'd love my hot pink and baby blue running shoes. They are just because they make me happy when I see them on the pavement as I'm walking. And yes, a little brightness. In fact, I'm in a very obnoxious bright pink and pink. I'm going to show it. Like, woohoo! Oh, we can't even see it. Yeah. This darn blurring. They're hot pink and multiple pink and whites and flamingos. Crazy pants.
Send me a picture after. I have to see them now.
All right, everyone. That is a wrap for the Grit Files. Again, thank you very much to our lovely guest here, Denise Drinkwalter. She is all about life coaching for midlife women. Look her up, DeniseDrinkwalter.com. Thank you, Denise.
Thank you. Have a great day.
And how about that fantastic intro by Touch Circle?